so much easier. Absolutely.
So you've got to take it amazing video something. When it comes out there, you get it back. Are you going to go?
I mean, then there's so many other workshops here.
I'm not very interested.
But the one you need to come to next week, we're going to show you. The show that it's about ready in the end.
Okay.
And you get the drawings.
Where is it?
Is everyone here?
This place is packed because it's so popular.
So namaste and welcome again. So just before everyone came in, Linda was asking me a couple of questions, and I think they're very good questions. So before I start the session, I'll talk about that. And like I said, as per the format is going to change next week onwards, because as far as the theory is concerned, this is the last session where I was going to, talk about some principles or some things, right? Next week onwards, it will be all action. So there will be step-by-step process. You can practice it here, take it back home, practice it there, and start seeing results in your lives.
The fact that we missed the first couple of sessions, will that make any difference?
I would put all of it would, so a little bit. So, but we would get there. I would put all those things on YouTube.
Brilliant, so you can catch up via YouTube.
And then also we would cover some of these sessions later on as well. So again, after a few times, we will repeat some of these things. Now, Linda has asked a couple of very good questions. One of them is basically that in her life, she has noticed that she's able to manifest a lot of these small things, but the big things don't manifest. The reason it happens is that for manifestation, you need a couple of things. One is that absolute faith and belief that that's going to happen. Second, you have to have your thoughts and vibrations which are aligned towards those manifestations. Now what happens with small things, it's very easy. Like as soon as I started following law of attraction, I started getting parking quite easily. Because there is no negative thoughts inside my mind related to that. If I get parking, fine. If I don't get parking, it's not like the whole hell is going to break loose. There is no fear, no negative emotion. You're used to finding parking one way or wherever anyways, right? So because of that, you don't have too much of negative emotion, and you think it's a small issue anyways. So even the belief, you don't need very strong belief to make it manifest. So it's quite easy to make small things.
One way or the other, or
Yeah.
it will or it won't.
Yeah, but for bigger things, most people struggle. The reason, and that's what we have covered until this session, and today is the last session, that unless you are at peace with yourself, you are happy with wherever you are. If you are poor, unless you are peaceful, you are at peace with being poor, you can't become rich. So a lot of people who want to become rich, they're so desperate that they're poor, they're so desperate that they need the money right now, that because of that, they continue in poverty. You have to be at peace with your circumstances. So unless you're happy with your situation around you, you can't change it. Unless you are at peace with your circumstances, however good or bad they are, you can't make it better. Because if you are thinking too much, as per law of attraction, if you're thinking too much about your negative situation, you're making it worse for you. Because more you think about it, worse things get. And third thing we talked about, today's the last session for that, is be at peace with everyone around you. So if you are jealous of somebody having money, then you are most likely not going to get money yourself because of that negative vibration. If you're not happy with some people doing certain things, then most likely you would invite more and more of that in your life, that not only that person, but other people would also start doing the same things to you. So because of that, your vibration will keep getting spiraling out of control, and then again you won't be able to manifest big things. So the first stage, and that's the reason we covered this before any other rituals, like we are going to start covering from next week. Like next week, first thing we would cover is how do you manifest a better relation with your spouse or live-in partner. So I would give you step-by-step technique that if you do this, most likely your relation would improve in a short period of time.
What if you're not in a relationship?
We'll cover all the different topics, money at some other session, at some point somebody, or you may use it for like office relation, business relation, same technique, or friends.
And children?
Children, yeah. Or But anyways, like knowing the technique helps because sooner or later you might get into a relation. So at that point, if you start into the relation with that sort of technique in mind, you're likely to get the better relation from day one rather than, getting into a bad relation then trying to improve it. Because once you get into a bad situation, improving it is much harder than making sure that you get the right thing to begin with. So it's just like a building. If you make the building correctly, it's much easier when you plan it, build it correctly. But if you build it halfway through and realize a major architectural flaw, that's it. It's much harder. Same way, you can use that to to make sure that next relation you have from day one, it works better. So basically, unless you have these things, you are happy with yourself, your circumstances, and all the people around you. Let them be. You live your own life. You let them live their own life. And if you are not peaceful and happy with that, you can't manifest any big things. So that's one of the things. That's the reason we covered all these things until now. And second thing she asked was that we also talk about, like in previous sessions, that our inner being, which is our soul, which is our connection to God, like it's that consciousness, a part of that consciousness goes inside us. It keeps giving us guidance. So whenever we are feeling negative emotion, we basically, it's our inner being, our soul or God telling us that we are going in the wrong direction. Based on all the experience we have had, all these lifetimes, our soul and whatever we have learned over our own life, all of that experience is telling us that for us, what we are trying to do right now or thinking about is not the right thing to do. Because if we continue thinking in that direction or continue doing that, then we will end up in trouble. That's what that inner being is saying. So if we think negative thoughts, negative emotions come in, and whenever negative emotions come in, it means our soul is telling us that we are going in the wrong direction. Some bad thing is going to happen if you keep thinking like that. And if you feel good, your inner being is telling you that that's what you are supposed to be doing. Because every soul has come into this body to experience certain things. And it gives us guidance based on whatever we have learned, whatever that soul has learned in previous lives. So she's saying that if the inner being knows all of that, then what are we supposed to learn? We're not supposed to learn anything. What happens is, inner being, when it came into this body, when it took birth, it chose a set of circumstances to be born in based on the whatever experiences it has had until then and whatever experiences it wanted in this life. So why is it that some people are born poor, some people are born rich? Because those souls have chosen that body, those circumstances. Can you imagine if just being born poor and then coming up against all odds and then becoming rich? How exhilarating would that be? Can you imagine like facing negative circumstances and then overcoming all of them? How joyful would that be? On the other hand, you see a lot of people who are born rich, they're unhappy, they're sad, they just waste their lives in drugs. So it's not about whether you're rich or poor that makes you happy. It's about whether whatever you wanted, those circumstances, whether you got them, and then from that point on, what you did with those circumstances and how much improvement you make from those circumstances. That's what makes you happy. So, inner being, you're not learning anything. All through your life, you have taken birth, and then you don't know, when you take this body, you don't know that whatever the previous lifetimes you've learned. You're just getting that inner guidance. So you're getting that guidance saying, I feel good, so this is the right thing for me. I feel bad, this is a bad thing for me. That's it.
Doesn't your inner being know everything? It's supposed to know.
It knows what is right for you, because what is right for you would be wrong for the other person.
No, but if my inner being knows everything, then my inner being will be there for all of infinity. But this one, so what is... I can't see why this thing with all knowledge... I see it like a puppet and a teacher.
Okay. I think let me cover this again, because there is a, once I talk about what we are going to talk about, then it might be easier for me to explain. Because this is related to what I was going to cover today. So this is the last session for being at peace with others, let others be. So this is one of the 3 things. I am happy where I am and I'm pleased with it. I'm at peace with all the circumstances around me, I'm at peace with everyone else around me. So, in order to understand, one of the big problems that people face is that they think that if they don't control other people, then they would not be happy. So, almost always, when you look at people, if they want to be happy, what do? Oh, you do this for me, then I will make me happy. If you don't do this to me, I would not be happy. And that's the biggest thing that holds people back. Because your happiness is your own emotion which you can generate within yourself. It has nothing to do with any other people around you. Any emotions you face is all inside. To be honest, those are just chemical reactions in the brain, whatever the feelings you're getting. And you can generate those chemicals at will. So there is nothing that other people can do that can make you happy or unhappy unless you want it to. So the reason for that is, when you look at how the universe was created, universe has like time, right? Time cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It always is, always has been, always will be, right? Then you look at space. Space always has been, always will be, cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It always exists. It's just there, right? And because even if, let's say, there is some space here, if you destroy it, what do you get? There is still that space, because that's the dimension. Energy, everyone knows, energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It just always exists. It has always been, always will be, right? Now, universe, where does universe come from? Some of that energy is consumed, some of that space is consumed and encompasses some of the time, and then it creates a finite entity called universe. In one of the previous sessions, I've talked about how I saw the universe has been created and how it looks like. So, but think of it, let's say we have this huge universe, billions and billions of planets and stars and galaxies covering this huge, enormous mass. All of that matter consumes energy. That's how the matter is formed, from energy, and then matter can be converted back to energy. So matter by itself is nothing. This physical stuff is nothing. It's energy, which is the real thing, right? So when the matter gets destroyed, you get energy back. And so this whole universe, it's the physical manifestation which combines time, space, and energy. But let's say all this huge universe exists, billions of planets and stars, but no consciousness to perceive it. Then does it even exist? Nobody to perceive that such something exists. Does it even exist? So if universe exists, that means there has to be some consciousness to perceive it, otherwise it doesn't exist. There is no way it could exist. And it has been proved in quantum physics that universe cannot exist without consciousness. Because even if it does exist, it's pointless, meaningless. Why would it even be there? Who would even know it's there? So universe cannot exist without consciousness, which means ever since the universe has been there, and for all the time the universe would be there, the consciousness must be there. Which means consciousness has also been there and will be there. And as long as consciousness exists, universe exists. If the consciousness, all the consciousness is gone, universe would be gone. Poof. So which means these are the 4 building blocks of creation: time, space, energy, and consciousness. And all of these combined together is what I saw as God, which I've described in one of the sessions earlier. Now, consciousness is a collection of thoughts, right? So let's say before even the universe came into being, there was empty space, there was time which was flowing, but nothing was happening, right? No events on that timeline. And there was energy, that's just energy everywhere in empty space. And then some consciousness existed, must have existed. And that consciousness must have thought something which created this universe. So all the universe, like I told in one of the sessions earlier, that all the universe is created from these thoughts. So in one of the internet sites, I read somewhere that somebody had mentioned that universe was created in thoughts of Vishnu. Now Vishnu is one of the Hindu gods which sustains and creates the sustains the universe. So forget about like Vishnu or any name of the god. You can use your own names, whatever you like. it was one of the most accurate statements which I saw from my own meditations. That this whole thing is actually God's imagination. Like we are all inside that creation, which is itself God. That whole consciousness, our consciousness combined together with God, combined together is God's consciousness, and our consciousness is a small part of God's consciousness. We have energy, small part of energy, which is all energy, which is God, and all of that energy combined together is God. We take some space, small part of that space, all of that space is God, and we take some small space of that God. So that God is that whole creation, everything there is. And that's why any religion you take, they say God has always been, always will be, cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. So these are the 4 factors that make up God: time, energy, space, and consciousness. So now God created His own universe with His thoughts. And that universe is expanding based on the thoughts. And then we took up part of that consciousness. We are building blocks of that consciousness, which is God. We all have our own consciousness, our own thoughts. Now, as God created that big universe, His universe, which includes the whole universe, through His thoughts, and modified it with His thoughts, we create our own universe around us with our own thoughts. In that universe is just us. When I was about 13 years old, I used to do a lot of research in lots of areas. Even when I was 12, 13, I invented a lot of theories. A lot of those inventions that I just wrote down in a notebook, they've actually got invented many years later. So one of the things I figured out at that point was, through my thoughts, that that everyone has a different universe around them. What the universe you have around you is not the same as universe you have around you. Because that is controlled by your perception. We're sitting here, temperature is the same, but some people feel cold, some people feel hot. Because they have different universe. 2 people talking to the same person, one person trusts that person, the other person not. Same situation, people react differently, they behave differently, they see things differently. However close the people might be sitting, their point of view is always different. Even physical point of view, even on the emotional and mental point of view. So every person has different universe. So this universe is something that we have power on. We cannot control somebody else's universe. They have the right to choose to create their own universe as they create. And because we are part of that consciousness that is God, we also have the same powers that God has. But our powers don't extend on the whole universe. It extends on our universe. So we change our universe, things we see and perceive, and things that are related to us in that circle around us through our thoughts. And because every consciousness in the universe is doing the same, with all those thoughts that are going on and all the desires that are being manifested, the whole universe changes. So we are helping God expand by having these desires. We are not learning anything. We're not meant to learn anything. We are meant to just come in, have those physical experiences which give us some desires. We have thoughts, we manifest those desires. And in terms of manifestation of those desires, new things get invented, things change. All kinds of inventions happen because of thoughts and desires. And for each new invention and thing, the universe changes. We are mining the asteroid belt now, so there are basically all these companies, they are doing research on that. It's going to start changing our solar system, just based on the thoughts. We have changed our planet anyways. So everything keeps changing based on our consciousness. And now, within our universe, let's say, if somebody is there, so we have that same power that God has, but which limits to our own universe, right? But it helps God by changing the whole universe, because all the consciousness is doing the same thing. Every single bit of consciousness is doing the same thing. So the whole universe changes. So basically we are helping God expand. We are helping the universe expand. More we think, more we desires we have, more we manifest, more the universe expands and changes. and it's heading in the right direction. It's always for the better. If you look at the life, how hard it was, let's say 10,000 years ago for humans, and now how much better life is. Everything is getting better and better and better and better. We have to understand that, because nothing is getting worse other than news media like portraying certain things. Those are rare incidents. If you look at the whole 7 billion population, people are getting better. It's getting better and better and better. But so we have our own universe in which we have power. Like in old Hindu scriptures, they said there are 330 million gods and goddesses. The reason they said that was that at that time the population of the world was 330 million. That's what Hindus believe, that the whole world's population was 330 million. So every person is a god or goddess within their right, and they have the same exact powers that gods have. Same exact power that we perceive God has in creating the universe, we have the same power within our own universe. But only thing is, because we are not deliberately aware of that power, so we randomly think things, we randomly do things, and random things happen to us. Sometimes good things, sometimes bad things, we just can't control it because we don't know how to. So that's what this is about. If we change our thoughts, then we can change what we see in that universe. I'll give you a lot of these examples in my own personal thing. When I was young, basically I just new driver's license, so sometimes I would speed, and I got a couple of speeding tickets as well. But as I grew older, I stopped doing that. You mature and you realize that within the cities there is no point speeding anyways, because next stoplight you would all be standing at the same time, so it's just pointless. So I stopped doing that. But then one of my previous managers in one of the companies I was working for, so he was like telling people why some of the company processes should not be followed. He said there are written rules and unwritten rules about things, and why it's wrong to follow company processes. That he gave an example saying that even though the laws say that you should not speed beyond 30 miles per hour, you try doing that, and people would start honking at you and they'd start showing you fingers. So because everyone expects to be speeding. So somehow that thing just struck me, because I had some negative emotions about that person. So whatever some of the things he said just played their part in my head, and I started playing with it. So I had been, driving normally until then for many years, nothing happened, and because that thing started playing in my mind, suddenly I see that when I'm going at 30 miles, I see some person like from the car behind is either honking or trying to show finger or trying to overtake in the wrong way, a couple of times like near accident. And then I thought, what's happening? And then it started playing you go into that spiral. So it started playing on my mind more. And then I realized that I didn't even have to be driving, because now I'm thinking about people doing that to me, right? So I love going for walks. So suddenly I started seeing that when I'm walking around in some empty area, in some roads or whatever, some car passing by, people would shout abuse at me or show me finger. And I'm thinking, why would they do that? And when I talked to people, nobody believed me. Nobody believed that something like that could happen. So, then I'm thinking like, what is going on? And I thought that probably because I look different and those people are white, so they must be racist, and some person walking in area with no person around, so they just thought that why did it happen to me? And then I thought about it. I realized that I'm inviting it all by my thoughts, because I think about it, it happens, and when it happens I react negatively. I think about it more, so it happens again. It keeps happening. Why doesn't it happen to you? Why doesn't it happen to you? Why doesn't it happen to all the other people I tell them about? Because they never think that it could happen. So they never even think about it, so it never happened. So the moment I stopped doing that, stopped thinking about it, and a couple of times it happened, I just let it be. I didn't have any negative emotions. Fine, some frustrated guy going through. Who cares? It's okay. A couple of times it happened, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. As soon as it started, it stopped. Now again I can drive perfectly, and nobody honks at me. Nobody shows a finger. It's like very simple, example, and I've got lots of very complex examples as well. this is a very simple example, which I can see directly relates to what we are talking about. Manifesting things which other people can't even believe could be happening. And then releasing them as soon as you realize what is going on. So now, come to think of it, the reason I said that was I want to come to a point. We have our own universe around this, right? And we say we want things within that universe. A lot of times people have a worry that even though people may be nice to them, behind their backs they are doing something which is against them. A lot of times people are afraid of that or worried about that, and because of which they do whatever they do or think certain negative thoughts. First point, now let's say if I'm driving down the road, maybe people still show their finger at me. I just don't see it. How do I know whether they are showing, or maybe even earlier they used to, I never noticed it. Maybe even now they do, I never noticed it, but during that time, somehow because I was thinking about it, noticing it more. How do I know? But the thing is, should I assume that now nobody shows their finger at me, or should I assume that people are doing it to me, but I just don't know it?
Can I give you an example then? I'm very tall, and I've attracted comments about my height all my life. And sometimes I can laugh it off, sometimes I can't. I've found it's got particularly hard. But what is now hard for me is that I walk down the street with my children, who are all 6 foot something. My son's 6'8". Even people that know and love him, that don't see him very often. I had my sister, who hadn't seen him for a long time, stand up in front of him at the weekend and just kind of staring up at him, and I feel great pain for them because I'm very conscious of what I've gone through all my life, and I'd like to change the way that I feel about that, but I feel very protective towards my children. I've been aware through my life of behaviours that are different towards me because I'm tall and I'm putting it down to the fact that I'm tall, to other women, and I don't know how to not feel when comments are made.
Yeah.
Or not feel the pain, because it is painful.
Yes, and I do totally understand. It's not that hard, but that is a step, that is a bridge that must be crossed. And the way to do that is, and if you would see that thought process changes first, and once your thought process changes, soon you would realize that others' behaviors towards you is also changed. So we carry a vibration within us, which is based on our thoughts. And that vibration is what makes other people behave in certain way with us. Why is it that same person behaves differently with different people? So sometimes you come across, some people I've seen who are quite tall, and I've seen that they are very proud of themselves, and when they go around talking to people, everyone talks to them as if it's something to be, great, you look, really tall. Like one of the big actors in Indian cinema, he's supposed to be, Amitabh Bachchan, he's very tall, 6'6.5", right? And the reason he's popular and people think it's great to be tall, they look up to him just because of his height. So there are different reactions. I've seen the same people in the same situation who derive out of the people.
Who do what?
Different people in the same situation can derive different reactions from the same set of people. So basically that is based on the vibration. If you're afraid of something, if you're worried about something, when we approach other people, they would latch onto that. Subconsciously they know that it's not something good, that person is tall. Or, oh great, you're tall, So they react differently. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, because I was vibrating at a certain frequency, then people passing around who otherwise would have left me alone, they did whatever they did to me. It was quite extraordinary episode, And so same thing, if you work on your thoughts, in whatever way you can talk yourself into alignment, and then you would see those people's behaviors would change. And I've seen that happen in my own life. All sides of my relationships have improved dramatically. Because with my wife, I went through the regular cycle, rigmarole of, if you do this, I'm happy. If you don't do this, I'm unhappy. Or, whatever. She did the same thing to me. So we said that, okay, if you do these things, I'll be happy. And she would tell me, if you do these things, I'll be happy. Tell me, how many of you have seen that happen? Does it even work? It didn't. Now, she lets me be, I let her be. That's it. I don't even try to bother with her, and then she's still happy. We have the best relation ever. So, because I just worked on my own vibration, I didn't try to change her. And some of the behaviors I wanted her to change. Some of them she did not change, some of them she did automatically without me saying anything. With my kids, same thing. I used to tell them a lot, but teenagers, they just don't want to listen sometimes. They just have their own world, right? And no amount of coaching, goading, punishing could ever make any difference. At some point, I just pulled back. I said, I don't care what you do. I just, within my mind, I said, I'm going to clean up my vibration. Whatever you do, I'm going to say that, yeah, I'm at peace with it. You have a right to live your own life the way you want. I have nothing to do with it. Means I can guide you, inspire you, but other than that, I can't force you. That's what I thought to myself, not even to her, just to myself. Kept saying that until I started feeling at peace with where things are. All of a sudden, overnight, she became a different person. One night, she slept a different person. Next day morning, she became a different person. And we still talk about it a month, 2 months later, that transition happened. And she tells me that, when did that happen? And was it overnight? Because she can't sense. Because as far as she's concerned, she's still the same person. But me and my wife can see like overnight difference, a big difference. I never had to talk to her about many of those things. So this is what I'm trying to say. So we are inviting all these things through our thoughts. And we are creating that universe within which all those things that we are afraid of, we are fearful of, we are worried about, or we are happy about would manifest, whether we like it or not. And if we want control over what we want in our lives, then we follow our heart, keep whatever circumstances there are, be at peace with them. First, circumstances would change, trust me.
So I can wear my heels tonight, can I?
Yeah. Bring yourself in alignment, talk to yourself until you start feeling it's all fine. I don't care, whatever people say, whatever people think. I am happy, I'm proud of myself.
Is it like changing your perception? Just changing your perception.
Yeah, so just work on your energy. You never have to tell anyone to do anything ever again. Whatever people do, one thing you have to understand is you cannot control others' actions. People have died, killed each other. They have spent all these hundreds of thousands of years just killing and killing and killing and killing so many people. They have not been able to control others' actions. It's impossible. You can only control your reactions to it. But if you control your reactions, people either would walk out of your life, you would stop seeing those people who are not pleasing to you, or their behavior would change. Because then they would only talk to you about those things that you want them to. You would get those experiences from them that you want. And I'm seeing more and more of it in my own life right now. So for instance, as an example, I had wanted to run these kind of groups ever since I was a child. I didn't care which topic. I just wanted to be able to, learn something and help, teach. I could never do that all through my life. Never, ever do that. But once I started working on my own energy, I just realized that I am good, I have something to share, and I knew, I had that belief that people somehow, out of nowhere, and come and just sit and listen to me. That's it. That's all I knew. And that strong belief, I kept working on that belief inside my mind. And all of a sudden, Lynn and Catherine and a couple of other people, I used to attend one of the regular meditation sessions that Lynn runs. Couple of people within that session said, why don't you teach us what you know? Just out of nowhere. And next week was my first group. And then yesterday, again I worked on my energy, like last few weeks it was only 4 people. 2 or 3 weeks. And then yesterday what I did was, in the evening, I set my intent, I want 10 people today. Okay, and to make that happen, yesterday evening, I worked on my energy, I lined up all my energies, right? And on meetup group, I put extra guests as my guests, so that the number is 10. And today there were 10 people. I don't know where all you heard about it, where you came from. I just knew. So you just work on your own energy. People's behavior towards you changes. Like, I did not have to convince anyone that I have something to say and that you should listen to me. I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't care whether you come in or not. I don't care who comes in. All I care about is working on my energy and that strong belief that I have something to share which might be useful to people. And I know that there are some people out there who would find it useful. Those people would somehow come and find me on their own. All I need to do is do things that please me, say those things. That's all. That's how it works. So I didn't tell Catherine, Lynn, I didn't ask them to change their behavior. Their behavior towards me changed based on my own secret work that I did within my own energy in the confines of my home, privately. My wife's behavior changed, my kids' behavior changed, and now when I walk down the street, I see a lot of people who smile at me, genuine smiles, in London, which is very rare. I see people, like, sometimes they start conversations with me. I'm not trying to converse with them. I'm not trying to smile at them first. It's because when I walk around there, my vibration makes them act that way to me. Some of the negative experiences I used to have, like I said about honking and all those things, they stopped altogether. No, I'm not going and telling each car driver that don't honk at me. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to say that. I don't have to go to Cockfuster station and have just one free parking space always available for me. I just worked on my own energy and those things just happen. So one thing you have to understand is that your happiness is just within your own mind. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. You cannot control them. You cannot control their reaction. Trying to control somebody always makes them more unhappy. Even if they agree to you because of some fear or because of fear of losing you or because you're more powerful than them, whatever, it's not going to make them happy, it's not going to make you happy. Because they would carry that vibration of resentment and you would latch onto that vibration, so you would feel this, that as well. Because haven't you noticed when you ask someone to do that and they do it with reluctance, you can sense that and you're not happy even if they have done it. You want them to be happy while doing it, but they can't be happy doing it because you're forcing them to, you're wanting them to. So the only way, we can only focus on our own universe, which is in our control. We can't control other people's universe. Let them be, let them create. They have the right, their inner being has the right to create their own universe. Help them create their own universe. Their thoughts, they have the right to create their own universe. You create, focus on your universe. If everyone focuses on their own universe, makes it the way they want, everyone connects to the higher power, there won't be any crime, there won't be any negative things anyways. Those negative things happen because people are disconnected and they're not listening to their inner being. So this is something that, we have to understand that, and there is no need for having that fear of that on the face of it, that person may be nice, but behind your back he's doing that. Because if you don't see that, does it really happen? How do you know it even exists? If you're not seeing something happening, that means it's not there in your universe. That's it. unless someone does something to you or says something to you, or you see it, experience it, you have no reason to believe that thing exists. So you only invite those things in your experience that you want, and all the other things would disappear out of your life. Whether people do that or not is immaterial, it's insignificant, it doesn't even matter. They just won't be there. Because all you care about is people who come and talk to you are nice to you. How do you care what the other world is saying or doing? So, as far as you are concerned, within your universe, no such person exists who is not nice to you. Because you would only get those people and those experiences. And that's what I'm seeing more and more of in my life as well. And you would start seeing that as well. Just work within your energy. And starting next week, the first lesson would be about how do you apply these principles on your spouse or relationship. So if you already have a relation, you can start improving that. If you don't have a relation, you can make sure the new relation works in the right footing from day one. So you don't have to improve later on. So now inner being, now coming back to the reason we did that was because this was helpful. So inner being, our inner being has all this knowledge that our inner being has gained throughout through many lifetimes, right? And we add on to that knowledge through our life, whatever experiences we have. So there is no learning. You're not learning anything. All we are doing is every time we have a negative experience, what's the first thing that comes up mind? Oh, I don't want that. And whenever we say, oh, I don't want that, what's the next thing? I want this. So if we have a negative experience, we let's say lost job interview. Oh, I don't want that. What do I want? I want to clear the job interview. If we have a negative experience of like being poor, oh, I don't want that. What do I want? I want to be rich. So every negative experience creates certain desires.
And so what you're saying then, everything that you do, once you've made the decision you want to be rich, is your focus is on doing everything kind of watching your spending, saving, cutting back here, cutting back there, is that what you're saying?
No. What you need to do is once you focus on that, you just let your inner being guide you. You just focus on being rich and you would figure out in your circumstances what are the things you need to do. You would get some ideas. And just align yourself to those ideas and follow them through. Don't go by what every single person would get different guidance based on their circumstances. So let's say one person may get guidance that I want to buy a lottery ticket. Fine, that's what makes them happy. The other person may get guidance that they need to work hard on this product and make it successful. They would get guidance around that. So your inner being will give you the guidance based on the emotions. So you just follow that. So there is no learning because you're just a constantly improving piece of art. You're evolving. So every single time you manifest one of your desires, you would get more experiences which will create even more desires. It's a never-ending cycle. Because that's what consciousness is about, having more thoughts, more desires, more manifestation, which creates more desires. The cycle keeps going on and that's how universe expands. That's how God expands. It just keeps going on and on and on. It never ends. So there is no learning. You're not learning anything. You're just being part of this whole consciousness, enjoying this experience. And once we, let's say, even if we had negative experiences, our inner being, when we release this body, our inner being must be saying, I went into these circumstances so that I could overcome that, but I was so engrossed with all the society and everything, so I could not do that. Let me try again. So you might take birth in the same thing, because they need that physical experience, otherwise why would they even take birth? Why would we take birth if we don't want to experience whatever we are experiencing right now, good, bad, ugly, whatever it might be? So it's basically, who knows, let's say, people say that sometimes you keep repeating those cycles of birth, right? Which means somebody is keeps taking birth as a poor person because that person wants to experience the elation of rising from ranks with poverty and then becoming rich, right? But every single time, because they can't do it, so they keep doing the same thing, repeating the cycle, keep taking birth in those poor families again and again until they achieve that. So it's basically some intentions were what our soul came into this body for, And we add on to those intentions and those desires through our life experiences, which again adds on to that inner being also. So inner being who takes birth next time would have our experiences and desires added on to that. And that knowledge that we have gained as well. So that's it. There is no learning. It's just a cycle. Keeps repeating. We keep expanding, keep getting more desires, keep learning, having those experiences and keep...
The more energies lined up, the better the desires are for us, obviously.
Yes.
That's why we make the wrong decisions in the past when we're not connected.
Yes.
Making our own
So,
decisions.
whether it's right or wrong for you is when you think about it, if you feel good, you should do it. If you feel bad when you think about it, don't do it. It's a very simple thing. Whether any kind of negative emotion, like whether jealousy, anger, hatred, worry, any kind of negative emotion is basically creates bad feelings. Don't do it. You're in the wrong direction. Okay. But you can align yourself. If there's something you really, really want, then you can align your energy and start feeling good about that as well. Because whether you feel good or bad is totally, totally within your control. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. And if you feel good inside you, then outside world around you will start changing. That's all there is. So the main thing is, to summarize, in order to manifest any big things, all we need to do is make sure that we clean up our own internal energy first. Otherwise we can manifest small things, but these bigger issues, the bigger negative energies that we have lined up, the resisting thoughts, they would keep holding us back. So if we are happy where we are fine with our circumstances, we are fine with all the people, we let them be, then only we can start seeing big things and manifest. Better relations, more money, people behaving nicely to us, better kind of people coming into our lives and people we don't want moving away from our life. So those big things require all these main three things. And that's what, when we raise the Kundalini, we set all these intentions, and that's how this is linked. So first is, I am where I am, and I'm pleased with it. I'm worthy of all that I want. That means I'm happy with myself. And I have no negative emotions about my desires. Because, I know all the desires are good. As long as my inner being is happy, that means it's the right thing to do. For me, maybe wrong thing for other people. Society may be saying you shouldn't do that, but my inner being is telling me I should do that. So then you're saying, I am at peace with everyone. These are the first three cycles that we have covered until now. And then you basically say, I feel joy, passion and love, which is the next stage. Once you have achieved peace with where you are, then you feel joy, passion and love in general. So you're in a state of bliss. Then your energy is lined up very powerfully. You can start manifesting things. And then you say, I want to observe my emotions, so that you know that once your energy is lined up, you're in state of bliss. You are able to maintain yourself, because by observing your emotions, you know which direction you're heading, whether you're going in the right direction or wrong direction. So you can do the course correction as you go along. And you want divine guidance, which means once your energies are lined up, the paths will open to you. You would figure out what you need to do. You would get inspiration, you would get ideas, you would get guidance on what is the right path for you to choose. So you get divine guidance. So your desires would manifest, and that's how you connect to God. So that's what that meditation is about. And that's how these two things are linked together. So you follow these steps. I am where I am, and I'm pleased with it. Figure out, talk to yourself, until you start feeling happy where you are. Then, I am worthy of all that I want. I am good, and I deserve everything. All my desires are good, and I deserve everything. There's nothing that I need to prove to any God or any society or any people to show that I deserve these things that I want. I am at peace with everyone. I let them be. I don't care what they are doing. They have their own right to attract whatever they want in their lives, as much as I have my own right. I don't want to change that. I can't control anyone else's actions or circumstances or behavior. I can only choose to react differently. If I choose to react poorly, then I attract more of that in my life. So if, let's say I have negative emotions about other people having cancer, most likely I would invite cancer to myself and my family members. If I have negative emotions about people talking about cancer, other people who have cancer, and because of that strong negative emotion, I keep talking to lots of people. I'm affecting them as well, because even they might take on that negative emotion, start thinking negatively as well, and they might end up having cancer as well. So you're actually spreading cancer. But on the other hand, if you don't want cancer, just don't invite it. Don't think about it, don't talk about it, and when you come across anything related to that, immediately line up your energy. That's their experience, but in my universe, I can't invite that. I don't want to invite that. So what do I want? I want healthy life. Talk to yourself into alignment, move on, just ignore that. Because by you talking about cancer is not going to cure those people, would it? If it could, go ahead, talk and talk and talk. It's only going to make you more likely to have cancer. So why even bother? If you can't help them, just think positive in those kind of scenarios. Say that, okay, I can't help by talking to them. If I feel bad, I could get cancer. So why do I need to talk about that? Instead, all I can do is, I don't want that. I don't want people to be dying of cancer. So what do I want? I want them to be healthy. I want some cure, right? Okay, what can I do about it? There's nothing I can do. Maybe there are options like, okay, I can pay this much money every month to charity because that's all I can afford. Or I can volunteer to some organization. Or I could become a scientist and find cure. That's it. These are 3 options. That's it.
Pray.
Or pray, but
Yeah. Well then.
we know that usually they have to pray for themselves using law of attraction for it to work. We can't pray for them. So basically these are the main 3 things you could do. Now, if you want to become a scientist, then you're focusing on the cure. So focus on cure, not the disease. And by all means do that if that's what you want to do. Or you donate some money or volunteer. That's the best you can do. That's the best. Be happy with it. Because if you're not happy with that, it's not going to help anyone. So whatever you're doing, be happy with it. Ignore it. Rest of the stuff. Just be happy that you are helping other people who have cancer by donating to this much money to this charity every month. Be glad you're doing it. That you're playing your part. There's nothing more you can do. So if there is nothing more you can do, anything beyond your control, forget it. Just focus on what you can do only, and only the positive aspects. Because by your worrying, you're inviting those things to your own people and yourself. Because more you worry, more you talk to your loved ones. Who are the people you would talk to if you're disturbed? Your family, your friends. And if you're talking about cancer to them all the time, they also start thinking about cancer. So you could get cancer, they could get cancer. If you love yourself, love your family, don't talk to them about all this. Do the best you can. Put some money every month. Just goes out of your debit account, debit card every month on its own. Be peace. Be happy. You're doing your part. There's nothing more you can do. That's it. Move on. So,
I was going to say, is it very similar to sort of, sometimes you can get very negative people around you, as it says, it's just sort of better to avoid people who are just very negative because it brings you down as well.
yeah.
Makes you negative.
Yes.
So if everyone around you is talking about illnesses or cancers or any form of illness,
Yeah.
the more you hear them talking about it, the more likely you are
To
to
get that.
perpetuate it in yourself.
Yes.
So it's best to just avoid people.
Yeah, best. And you
who
would
are
get this
negative
guidance
like
from
that.
your inner being. Because when you talk to them, you feel bad. That means your inner being telling to move away from them. Don't listen to them.
Mm.
Okay. But because we've become part of this society where we are not in tune with our own self. So we just carry on. We feel bad. We just smile and just carry on.
So is that like where guilt comes from? Because you're
Yes.
feeling bad about what's happening with them?
Yeah. Or even for yourself. So that's why guilt is like you are not happy with your own self. So I am not happy with where I am. Or I think I am not worthy of what I want. So I'm not good enough. So just let it be. And once you start following this, what happens is every time you feel bad, you say, I don't want this. So what do I want? They're talking about cancer, making me feel bad. That means that's not the right thing for me to do. So I don't want this. What do I want? First of all, I don't want anyone to talk to me like that about these things. I want to move away. So do that. What's the second thing? I want healthy life. I don't want cancer, I want health. So set your intent, I want health. And align your energy that I will always be healthy, I would want health, and be happy that I am already healthy, I'm good wherever I am. I'm at peace with it, and in future this is my intent, this is what I want universe to line up for me. Good, perpetuating health. Always. And more you line up your energy with these things, more you start seeing those things happen. Nothing happens straight away. It takes time. And it takes time. You have to align up your energies. Talk and talk and talk to yourself until you feel good.
Can I share something that Louise Hay said that's kind of like affirmations?
Yeah.
And it's like that, you just keep talking until you start to believe it. So I know you were saying about height. So if you said to yourself, and I think she did mirror work, so you'd look in the mirror maybe and say, I'm proud of my height. And this little voice goes, like hell you are. And you just keep saying it until in the end that little voice just becomes less and less and less, and you actually do feel
I think
proud
I'm
of
finding
it.
it hard now. I'm feeling guilty about feeling like this because I want to be a positive role model for my daughters and my son. I want them to not be affected by the comments because I've had some really crushing things said to me. You know, and it has affected me. And I'm really feeling very protective towards my children now because they're tall. And I felt very anxious to know how tall they were going to get to. And I'm so pleased my youngest daughter has hit the 6 foot and she stopped. Because I don't want my daughters to be taller than me. I really don't want them to be taller than me. And my son is, and I see, you know, he is a boy, and I do think, you know, that it's more positively received.
Yeah. Which is, I find this very strange because, you know, the kind of society I've been with, or at least whatever the people I have come across, I thought that being tall was something to be proud of. That's the kind of life upbringing I've had, you know.
But socially, when I'm out, I get excluded. I've gone to dance classes, and afterwards, when you're free to practice the routines that you've learned, I don't get a partner. They don't come and, you know, I mean, I'm not easy to swing under your arm, you know, so I don't get
But
asked.
if you start to change how you feel
Yeah,
about
no,
it,
I know I
it
have
will
to.
change
Yeah.
how
See,
it will affect
I
your
think-
family.
I think one of the easiest way in these kind of situations is you first find out, you look at the positive things that you have, right? So you make a list of all the things that are positive. All things other than that particular issue that is bothering you. Make a list of all the positive things, line up your energy with all those things, and then also the issue that is bothering you, see what are the advantages or best aspects of that issue. Start ignoring all the negative things
Well,
or
I
negative
try.
comments.
I try.
Yeah.
I do try. And some days, on
No,
good
but
days,
you're not lining up your energy. So deep inside, you don't believe. You have to create that belief first of all the advantages of being tall and all the other good physical attributes and other attributes you have. So then you create a package, self-image, and people see you with your own self-image then.
I know what you're saying is right. I know
Do you
it's
think
right.
when you go out you're inwardly expecting them to make comments?
I just feel now, I mean, most of the girls I go out with are your height, they're not my height.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
When
I
I'm
think
having a conversation, I like to sit down because then I'm in the line of the voice. You know, there's just so many aspects to it.
No, but I mean, do you think that when you go out, subconsciously you're expecting people to make comments?
Yeah, because they usually do.
Yeah, see.
That's-
So it's a
that's
self-perpetuating cycle. We have to break that cycle somewhere.
And
You
I don't
try
want
this.
to be bigger than everybody else.
Yeah,
I
you-
want to be, I
you-
just want to blend
okay.
in.
It's like you and your car honking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
But I
Just
can
try this.
change,
Just
I can
try.
change the way I think, and that's all I have got,
yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
Maybe you
So
need
just
to go
try
back.
this. Try this for a few weeks. Sorry.
So I was going to say, maybe you need to go back and find where the first comments came from.
Can I tell you the very first comment that absolutely crushed me? I was at a dance and I was 17 and I was sat down and a guy asked me to dance and I stood up and he said, I can't dance with you, and he just walked
Okay,
away.
maybe it's a memory or something like that that's still in
Yeah.
the system.
And then it
rather
becomes
than
a-
what's going on now.
Yeah.
You maybe got to go back.
Snowballs, it snowballs.
Yeah. So I think the exercise I would give you is you make a list of all your best physical traits, right? That you are proud of yourself, not what others are saying, what you feel proud of. Then you make list of all the advantages of being tall, that you feel good, right? Ignore all the areas wherever, like, that you're not comfortable with. Just ignore them, because more you think, those things that you ignore start withering away and dying. They move out of your experience. More things you focus on come into it. So talk yourself into alignment. Talk to yourself. Start making yourself feel good about yourself and being proud of yourself by talking about all those points again and again. Different rational, different thinking, different logic. Keep talking until you start feeling good about yourself. Do it for a few weeks. There would still be some people who might come in and make comments, but figure out something positive to take out of that incident instead of having negative emotion. Like I said last few times when people did that, it's like some frustrated guy walking around, so who cares, And then, I actually laughed at one of those people. So I felt good that it didn't affect me, So try to figure out those positive things to take out of those incidents. Do it for a few times. Those incidents would become less and less and less if you are aligned, if you are feeling good about yourself. And eventually they'll just disappear. And if you visualize yourself, people coming up to you and saying good things about your personality, your trait, or whatever, you would start encountering some situations where people come up to you and say, "Oh, isn't that wonderful that you're so tall? You can help me with that."
Well, you do. I tell you what, it's usually older ladies that say, "Oh, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful."
Focus on that. Focus on that.
Yeah, it is. It seems to be older ladies that are just somehow positive about it.
Yeah, focus on that. Because I thought, a lot of people in India are not as tall as I am. But for me, I wanted to be tall. I wanted to be taller than this because I thought it was something to be proud of. It's like I'll really be good if I could be taller than I am, the better I would be. So I never even realized that there could be the other angle to that, because I thought every person who's tall would be really, really, really proud of themselves.
Well, I think for women it's hard. I think for very small men it's hard. In this society, I think if you're a very small man, it's really hard, and I think if you're a very tall woman, it's hard. Because you don't fit into how society sees you. And I've got a brother who's 6'4" and he's married to a woman of 5'1", and I just think, that's one of my men gone. Because but that's acceptable in this society. And doesn't attract,
Just try that for a few weeks.
Yeah, no,
Make a list.
Because I can see exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying is right. It's just hard when you're not in a good place to get above that.
Yeah. So, but you don't have to get it to state of bliss from where you are right now. Every day, make small improvements, small improvements, small improvements, small improvements. Every day, keep doing that. Catherine did that. She said. So every day, small improvements until. It took me 4 months to first achieve that state of bliss. From the day I started, so much negative stuff going on in my mind. It took me 4 months to get that first glimpse of what a state of bliss feels like. 4 months.
No, I really want to. For myself, obviously, but for my girls as well. Because I don't want them to think of themselves.
Don't worry about your girls. Because
but if I get myself right,
then automatically your vibration and confidence would rub off on them. They'll be inspired on their own.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I know I need to for them.
Yes.
Never mind myself.
And if you worry about someone else, are you not attracting that to them? If you're
No,
worrying
if you're
about
worrying
your
about somebody else,
children,
you're not attracting it to them, but you're attracting it to yourself.
It's like if you have a fear of spiders, you tend to pass that on to your kids. Because
You talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And you make them think about it.
Yeah.
If it's a secret fear, it's only affecting you. But when you talk to someone about those things, you start impacting their behavior as well.
And I apologise, I don't mean to make it about me, but it is a real issue. It is a real issue for me.
So try that. Do the same thing that I did in my situation. So make a list of all the positive physical traits you have,
How do they help?
all the advantages of being tall.
Getting things out of top cupboards, I have to climb
Oh
up.
yeah, no, I get asked
Exactly.
I get asked all the time, all the time.
So
Exactly.
and focus on all the good comments you have had about that. So just make a list of all those things. Keep adding to that list. Keep making it bigger. Keep talking about those points, thinking it through in your mind. Have conversations with yourself until you start feeling good and better and better and better and better. And once you reach very good, a stage where you're feeling very good, soon after you'd see that suddenly you would realize, it's been a while since somebody had said that. Oh, but this time this person came and said something else, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Suddenly you
it's
would
true.
realize that.
Can you just be aware of the words you use as well? Just me being here for I've only just come back in again. Have awareness about the words you're using. I want to protect them. I don't want them to. I need to. These words that you're using, I think, could be would help you. I am going to do this. This is going to be how it is. It's a bit more positive. It's a bit more how you would like things to be.
Yeah.
It's slightly a different shift.
Yeah.
Just be aware of the words you're using.
Yeah, so only have those positive, statements. So instead of saying, I don't want to fall sick, you say, I want to be healthy. Because when you say, I don't want to be sick, you still be sick.
Yeah.
So, but if you want health, that's what you want. You want people to be nice to you. If you say, I don't want people to say this to me, they will continue to say that. But if you say, I want people to be nice to me, then they would be nice.
And visualise. That's something that athletes do already before they run a race. Actually be in it. So this morning when I woke up in my fantastic house. I walked out, jumped in the swimming pool, went for a swim. It was right overlooking the beach, and I was really trying to be in it, so my head would think, I'm there, I'm living that, I'm enjoying these experiences. That's what I've been working on this week. Visualise how you want things to be, how you want to feel.
Yeah.
I think it just makes it a bit more concrete.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is everyone okay if I pan the camera around just to, just see how many people we have?
I really need to go.
Yeah, that's fine. So I think we are done anyways. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming in. And so hope to see you next week. Like I said, next